looked at her car. They should have looked at any video footage from any of the places where she was said to have been last seen. They haven't done that. They should have polygraphed people who said that they spoke to her last.
You mean her estranged husband, George?
Well, yes.
And here is my big issue tonight. Why now? After all this time, why did authorities reportedly change Julie Ann Gonzalez missing persons case to a high priority and missing person in danger? Did cops uncover anything, or was it just a response to the fact that we've been talking about this for 2 days straight here on Issues? We've been calling them for a couple of days now to appear on Issues. Police do not want to talk to us about it.
I'm sure if they would have found some blood or some semen or a glove or something, maybe they would have suspected foul play. But what signs need to be shown in the vehicle or anywhere she was for them to classify it as foul play? They have not been able to define foul play for us yet. What defines foul play?
And look, I want to make this clear. I want to be wrong. I don't want this to be foul play. I sincerely hope Julie is okay and safe and just made a very bad decision, kind of like the runaway mom who we're going to cover in a little while, and simply needs therapy. But to me, when you hear that a stranger is using her credit card, I personally think that is suspicious. Marcy, New York, your question or thought, ma'am?
Yes, hi, Jane.
Hi.
I love your show.
Thank you.
I commend you for doing this case. And I was wondering if the police weren't investigating it, but she's Hispanic. I noticed that a lot of young white women, when they go missing, the police care more than if it was a Hispanic or black woman.
Well, listen, I don't like to play that card ever, but I want to toss it out to the family. Dora Cooper, Julie Ann Gonzalez's aunt. Do you feel that, let's say, you would have been treated, you're treated differently than you would if you were, let's say, perhaps a wealthy family or a famous family or a family from another background?
Yes, I do.
You do?
If we had money, yes, I do. But also, it would have depended on who she was related to. If this would have been a high-profile person's daughter or niece or whomever, well, yeah, they would have been all over the street. But, we're just a regular family. And yes, I do believe that. I wouldn't say because she's Hispanic. I just think that because of, where she came from, maybe.
Well, last night on Issues, the family talked about James, the web designer. Somebody who was allegedly texting Julie in the days before her disappearance. Listen to this clue. What do you think about this James text?
Well, texts have come into Julie's phone from, like I said, the dead uncle. Random text, anonymous calls, things of that nature. And this is just another one. This is just another smokescreen.
Gil, you're the uncle. You've been very vocal about this so-called web designer. How did the family learn about this mystery man, James, the web designer, and do you think he exists?
No, I don't. I don't think he exists, and it came up through a supposed friend of Julie's who we have not heard from anymore. We heard from her one time, and now she just doesn't want to speak to anyone.
Well,
and that's where it's at right now.
Okay, Sandra, you're the mom. Explain the web designer. And this girl came up to you and said, oh, I don't know what to say. She's hanging her head low. And then she said she met a guy called James. What's the story, very briefly?
Well, she just told me, I'm sorry I kept this information from you, because she came to me a few days after we reported Julie missing, and she was just hanging her head low, just saying, I shouldn't be here, I shouldn't be talking to you.
What'd she say about James?
She just said, Julie texted me saying that she had met James at her work, and that he was a web designer, and that
at her work. Now we've got another piece of the puzzle, Mike Brooks.
Absolutely. Now, when did she say that Julie, when did this woman, or Julie, confide in this woman about the web designer at her work? Did she say?
Well, now, Mike, I got to give you a little bit of background on this. I spoke with Julie's best friend today.
Yeah.
Which is Natasha and Amber. And Natasha said, I heard from Amber that she was with this guy, James. So then I called Julie. Julie did not answer the phone. And she sent me a text message saying, I don't feel like talking right now. What's up? And she says, what's going on? She says, I met this guy named James. And she says, what James? What are you talking about? She says, I've never heard of a James. She says,
Now, wait,
So these are text messages. These are text messages.
These
Let
are
me
text
just say
messages.
this.
These are not phone calls.
Is there a James at her work? Have you called her workplace, the Walgreens, where she was a pharmacy technician? Is there a James there?
I
No,
spoke to
I've
one of her
spoken with,
coworkers
One at a
today.
time, please.
Super.
What? Okay.
Second.
Go ahead.
Okay, go ahead, Mom. Is there a James at the work?
There is no James at the work, and the pharmacy where Julie works at is so, there's so many people coming in and out of there that even, people,
He could have been
family,
a customer.
even
Okay.
people that
What
we
about-
have.
Go ahead, Mike.
What about possibly, Walgreens, it's not based there. What about a regional office for Walgreens in that area that may service the different stores with their computers? And as a technician, she may deal with them if there's a technical issue.
You know what? There's a lot of what ifs, but when it
Yeah.
comes down to it, Julie went to work, and when she wasn't at work, she was with Layla. And when she wasn't with Layla,
And we're
she
going to
was
go to
at work.
break, but let me tell you something. We've got to talk about the pings. Now that they've declared it a priority, maybe they can check out her cell phone and find out where the pings are coming from. We are all over this desperate search. Stay right there. We're back in a moment with more.